It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that most kids' movies end up having a similar message to them. That you can be whatever you want to be, and that if you try hard enough, you can make even the most impossible of your dreams become a reality. Even if that's not the central theme of the movie, you can be rest assured that most kids' movies will have a message like that in it somewhere. And that isn't a bad message to teach children, as if they feel they're doomed to failure or that they can never be what they want to be from the start, then they'll never even try to make their dreams come true. And let's face it, sometimes a person's hope and determination to be what they want to be is the only thing that makes their dream possible in the end. But today, I'd actually like to take a look at two kids' movies that deliver the opposite moral, but still do a great job of inspiring people nonetheless. And these two movies would be The Nightmare Before Christmas and Monsters University. And obviously there will be spoilers for both movies ahead. So if you haven't seen either of them yet and don't want anything ruined, you should probably click off the video. This will be the only spoiler warning in this video. Okay, so at first glance, these two movies don't appear to have much in common, beyond the fact that they both contain monsters whose job it is to scare people, but aren't actually evil. And even then, the reason why they do that is entirely different. But the point is, one is about the embodiment of Halloween becoming bored with it all and wanting to try something new, while the other is about a monster college where a bunch of students are trying to become scarers. But as I just touched on, at the end of the day, these two movies end up delivering more or less the exact same message to the audience, and it's one that goes almost entirely against what children's movies are usually known for preaching. That simply put, you can't always be what you want to be. Because Jack Skellington desires to take over the role of Santa Claus in order to experience something new, while Mike Wasowski wants more than anything to be a scarer. But when both actually attempt to live these dreams, it almost ends in complete disaster to the point that they have to work very hard, very fast, using their actual talents in order to set things right. And in that lies the brilliance of both their movies, and how they can still be really inspiring despite them conveying a few rather sad truths about the world. Because it's true. Not everybody can be what they desire to be. Sometimes they just aren't born with the necessary requirements for it, and no amount of studying, research, and education will ever make up for it. Or maybe you were just born with talents outside your passion, and no matter how much you want to be something else, you'll end up being forced to fall back on your natural abilities to get ahead. To put it simply, passion can't always compensate for talent, especially when your talents blatantly lie elsewhere. But what's brilliant about both these movies is that even though they don't pull their punches in getting this point across, they also show how this isn't always a bad thing. Because even though Mike Wasowski isn't scary, for example, that doesn't mean he still isn't a brilliant scarer. Because as Sully points out to him at the end, even though it was him physically doing the scaring, it was Mike who made it happen. When he had a man who did have the talent he didn't have, and taught him how to apply those talents, he pulled off something he could have otherwise only dreamed of doing. So in the end, even though he doesn't get to be a scarer himself, he can still find the same fulfillment in helping somebody who is a scarer be the best one he can be, thereby basically accomplishing his dream in a roundabout way. And once the monsters switch from scaring children to making them laugh later on, then Mike gets to live his dreams to an even bigger extent, because not only does he now get to take an active role in it like he always wanted, but finds that he has a really great talent for making children laugh. Basically, in the end, it's not exactly what he had in mind, but he still finds happiness, purpose, and fulfillment in it all the same. Or an even better example of that is Jack Skellington in The Nightmare Before Christmas. Because it's not that he hates Halloween, or that he doesn't exactly want to be the Pumpkin King. It's just that he's grown so bored with his life and all things Halloween that he's become completely apathetic to it. And thus his dream is to experience something new. And once he finds that something new in the form of Christmas, it becomes his life's mission to experience it, to the point that he recreates Christmas in his own image as the new Santa Claus. But none of that changes the fact that he's always meant to be the ruler of Halloween, and that he'll never be able to be Santa Claus or get Christmas, or any other holiday for that matter, right, as Sally tries to tell him. And in the end, when he attempts to bring his new version of Christmas to the masses, it all goes so wrong that he's literally blasted out of the sky. But instead of dwelling on how short-sighted he'd been, he instead decides to look on the bright side, because he still enjoyed the experience of being Santa Claus, and even finds that it finally gave him back his love for Halloween. So by the end, even though his dream to experience being Santa Claus didn't work out, he's once again found fulfillment in exactly what he was meant to be. The one and only Pumpkin King, which is something only he can be. Now, what's my point with all of this? That The Nightmare Before Christmas brilliantly shows that sometimes, no, you can't be what you want to be, but that you can and will find happiness and fulfillment in what you were meant to be, even if it doesn't seem that way at first. And not to mention, even if you try to live your dreams and it doesn't work out, that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you still enjoyed the experience and found that you can learn something from it. In fact, sometimes failing to live your dreams can be the best thing that can happen to you, as it allows you to find what you're truly meant to be in life. And that's exactly what happens to Jack. By failing to live his dream, he's able to find happiness in his calling again. Basically, what both these movies are trying to tell people is that it's okay if your personal dreams and your calling in life aren't the same thing. Because even if you can't live out those dreams or fail in trying to, you will eventually find happiness and fulfillment in what you were meant to be. And you have to admit, that is a pretty valuable message to send to people. That even if your dreams don't work out, even after you've dedicated a ton of work or maybe even your entire life to it, that you can still find the fulfillment you're looking for anyway. And that all that time you dedicated to pursuing that failed dream will not be lost, as it can either be used to help in your true calling or simply inspire a new passion in your life. Because what's important to remember is everybody in this world has a calling, and sometimes that calling won't be the same as what that person wants to be. And as both those movies brilliantly show, that's okay. Just because a person can't live their dreams doesn't mean that their true calling can't give them everything they ever wanted anyway. Alright, that's everything I've got on that. So now I'd like to hear from you guys. Do you believe that the moral behind Monsters University and The Nightmare Before Christmas is a valuable one that should be conveyed to people more often? Or do you believe a message like that isn't so good? Please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And remember, you don't have to agree with any opinions expressed in this video. You can personally believe anything you want to, and I nor anybody else can tell you you're wrong. And thank you all for watching. I really appreciate all of it. And I hope to see you all next time.